I'm Isabelle Gonthier, Chief Assessment Officer at PSI Services, and I invite you to delve deep into the world of testing with me. Every episode, I'll be on the virtual couch with experts from the testing industry, engaging in conversations about the latest developments in our field. Your quest for testing knowledge starts here. Well, welcome to this episode of the Tried and Tested podcast. Today, we have the pleasure of welcoming Kim Cohen. She's the Vice President of Credentialing at ISACA, and we're going to be talking about the future-ready credentialing, looking at innovation and AI in credentialing. So we're here in Chicago having this conversation. Welcome to our podcast, Kim.
Thank you, Isabelle. Happy to be here.
Yeah, that's going to be great. We always start with the same question. Interested in hearing a little bit more about your journey. How did you come across, becoming a credentialing professional? How did you get to where you are now?
Oh, well, I got here in a roundabout way, never saying no to opportunities. That's my number one motto in life. And right out of college, I started my career actually as an IS auditor.
Oh,
Yeah, and working at ISACA really does help with understanding the content in our certifications. But I tried that out for a few years, and it just wasn't a fit for me. And I happened upon a job description looking for an individual to create training courses for IS auditors at a very small association called Bank Administration Institute, BAI. So I applied, I got the job, and that started my career in the association world.
okay.
Then I stopped my career, had some babies,
Very
and I was
important process
very
in the journey.
important, yes. And I was very fortunate enough to be able to, while they were babies, be at home with them. But I never ever wanted to stop my career for very long. I knew I was going back into a professional, position, and so I was always looking. And ISACA, the association that was very, very well known in the IS audit community, was looking for a certification assistant. And I applied, and I was pushed in to be with my experience in IS audit, to be the go-to person to be the liaison with the SMEs to write items and develop exams. And over the years, I continued to get promoted. And when I started 30 years ago, believe it or not, yes,
Wow.
with ISAC, I just celebrated my 30th. Um, we had one certification, the CISA certification, the certification for IS auditors. And now we're growing. We have 6 and counting. So yeah, we are very, very excited about the future. And we look at the past as a learning opportunity, and what we got right and what we did wrong and what we have to change just to keep up with the times.
Well, I guess that explains why you've been there for 30 years because there's lots of opportunities you never stand still, basically.
That's why I love this industry, and that's why I like ISACA. I mean, we really do have, I really align with their mission, and every product we put out is a value added product to our community. And I love the industry because I get to work with such incredibly intelligent people like you, Isabel, and yeah, and it's continuous learning. We really walk the walk and talk the talk.
Absolutely. Our industry is incredible that way. It's kind of like it's basically a lot of smart people that it's all about continuous learning, growing and
Absolutely.
benefiting from each other's, which is phenomenal.
Absolutely. Just like the session we were at earlier, I went to an educational session today, and it was phenomenal. Yeah, so we are continuously learning, and that is our motto and our mission with ISACA. It's about making sure that our members and our certifieds um, have the tools to meet the challenges of today and actually drive the innovations of tomorrow. So I really align with that vision and that mission. So here I am, 30 years later.
Yeah, and say, not counting.
Yeah, right, not counting. Well, when I started at 19,
Which makes a lot of sense. I think it's fascinating because, obviously the topic of our discussion today is around innovations and kind of like, if I can put it that way, pushing the limits and continuing to think about what are the needs of the stakeholders, how to stay
Absolutely.
relevant. And it's fascinating to see how ISACA has grown over the years
Mhm,
and brought that value to the
mhm.
certificates, to the industry. So you've actually recently beta tested a new certification,
Yes, we did.
which is the Advanced in AI Audit, or
Mhm.
AAIA. So I think that's obviously very timely, given like everything that's going on with AI. It's such a hot topic. So what motivated the creation of the certification now, and how does it align with the broader credentialing strategy at ISACA?
Yeah, yeah. The motivation for this specific certification came in two ways. We always have our finger on the pulse of what our certification members, our ISACA members and certification certifieds need, right? So we're continuously doing market research and asking them very, pointed questions. One being, what do you want in terms of emerging technology? What is most important to you? AI was at the top.
Yeah.
AI was at the top. And AI has been around for years, but I mean, it's just exploding right now. It's just exploding. And so at ISACA, we serve IS auditors, information security, cybersecurity, privacy people. So when you think of AI, you think of all those
It's
domains.
paramount.
Uh-huh, exactly. So in especially the IS audit and the information security, we were really keen to produce something for them. So in 2024, we started with our learning products and our content. And the way that ISACA works is we get the learning and content out there first so that we can educate and fill that skills gap a little bit, and then we follow with our certification. And so when we thought about, okay, what type of certification do we want? We do have AI fundamental certificate, which is wonderful for those coming into the IT world and the IT assurance world. But we wanted something that really met our current constituents' needs. So we have been hearing for a few years now from our CISAs and our systems, well, what's next for us? This is such a great cornerstone certification for management and that 3 to 5 year professional in the domain of choice. But what's next? And so we looked at what was next, and it's these specialties. It's these specialty certifications. So you take the CISA and you take that base of CISAs and other IT audit related certifications out there, and you say, okay, well, you have the basic IT audit knowledge. We need to provide you and assess you on this specialty knowledge of auditing AI or using AI during your audit processes. So we were really excited about it. And so now with our strategy, we're looking at these specialties or what we call plus certifications for each one of our certifications. And we're starting with the advanced AI audit because that's our largest membership base.
Okay.
So we're really excited about it. The beta went wonderfully. We got some great information, and tomorrow we do the cut score.
Oh, that is exciting and timely for
Yeah,
sure.
very timely.
So it's basically a specialized certification that is an add-on to the CISA in this situation,
Correct.
and then to kind of attest to that additional level of expertise.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. It is not as large of an ECO, exam content outline, as the CISA exam is because that's more general. But digging deep into, the audit process and the content areas of which the you audit, right?
Okay.
This is specific to AI. And there's only 3 domains, 90 questions, multiple choice. And it's really zeroing in and assuming if you're certified, you have that basic IT audit knowledge and skill.
Yeah.
Now we're going to test you on your ability, your knowledge, and the tasks around auditing AI and using AI in your audit process. So it's a very unique program.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's great because it really expands on what you already have. It's building from it
Absolutely.
and will speak to your audience. I would assume like people would be looking for this. That's a way to distinguish themselves to get to that next level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it tells the employee or employer that, okay, this individual can audit,
Hmm.
can perform IT audits, but look at this specialty he or she has.
Hmm.
Yeah, so they are, a specialist in auditing AI.
Yeah, that's amazing. How did you get about defining the AI? What is the AI content for that purpose?
Well, we were very careful when we were doing our task analysis. And at ISACA, um, we go through the rigorous um, ISO IEC
Hmm.
17024
Yeah.
standard best practices. So that even though we may or may not seek it, all of our certifications are created the same way.
Which is perfect.
Right.
That's the way to do it.
That's the way to do it, using best
Yeah.
practices, right? So we applied that rigor and we did it again with this specialty AI, auditing AI certification. So we got a group of individuals that fit that profile. They had a certification in IT auditing and they had experience in auditing AI.
Mhm.
And we put the knowledge or the tasks and the knowledge together and we validated it through a survey.
Mhm.
And we came out with, like I said, a three domain exam content outline. And it's pretty much 33, 33, 33 in terms of the domains. Like I said, we did it carefully because we did not want to overlap with the CISA.
Mhm. Yeah.
That was a requirement from the get-go. And at ISACA, we have the most wonderful volunteers, the most wonderful SMEs, and they were so excited and so happy to help.
Well, they saw the
So
value
they
right from the
see the
get-go.
value. They
Yeah.
see the value. And so, yeah, we ran the beta. Over 300 people tested because we wanted a rich, for statistical and psychometric measures. And we had a variety of different IT audit certifications that took the exam, not just CISAs. So we're very excited about it because we're opening it up to the entire IT audit community, not just the IT auditors that follow ISACA.
Okay, well,
Mhm.
that's great because then it kind of like it broadens the opportunities for the professionals that have the certification in audit,
Exactly.
whatever the certification
Exactly.
is from ISACA, and allow them to sort of build that additional layer of
Hmm.
expertise, knowledge, and demonstrating that. How do you deal with the fact that, we know how it evolves so quickly? It's actually crazy when you think of it. So from an exam content standpoint, in order to kind of keep current, how do you deal with that, with the fact that things are moving so quickly?
Um, we did shrink the timeline for development because we
Okay.
knew how important this certification was and is. And we wanted to get it out there, as quickly as possible, with including the rigorous, process that is required
Yes,
by,
psychometrically
mhm,
defensible and yeah.
exactly, exactly. Partnering with PSI has been a joy, knowing that we are, on the tip of something very innovative.
Yeah.
And so how we're going to keep it updated is we have our strategy where um, we're blessed with having our other certification item pools, exam item pools, being so the quality and the quantity within those pools are very healthy.
Okay.
And so it will allow our staff, our item developers, and our exam development staff work with PSI to really beef up. and write questions to this brand new ECO,
Hmm.
uh, you know, um, and continuously writing
Okay.
to this brand new ECO to build that item bank. We know that we are going to have to really look at and keep an eye on the exam content outline itself for
Hmm.
relevancy,
Yeah.
but we built it in such a way that the questions itself but will be able to be, classified within one of the domains
Okay.
so that, we can change the questions with the new technology of AI, which is continuously changing.
Yeah.
But knowing that we'll have to do a new ECO within 2 to 3 years is on our radar.
Yeah.
So we are putting our staff, our resources, and our skill set into um, really concentrating on writing questions and testing questions
Hmm.
because we believe we will have the population to test them. We built in, pre-test items or, those sample items so that we can gain statistical analysis on that, and we'll continue to refresh those um, sample questions and equate them to future exams. Our number one goal is to get to loft very
Yes.
quickly.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of value in that because then again, it's about minimizing the exposure of your items, being able to have enough loft, which is literally on the fly testing. Kind of
Mhm.
the principle of it is to be able to have like a pool of items that generates unique forms. And then
Absolutely.
from a security standpoint, it's so critical. But you need like being a brand new certification. Obviously, you need to start with forms.
Yes.
But I love the fact that you are aiming to have this as
Hmm.
a loft because of the benefits it will create, and also for you in terms of your own processes instead of having to validate multiple forms all the time.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And we've like I said, we had over 300
Hmm.
involved in our beta.
Yeah.
We won't know who passed yet, because we have to get that cut score. But we want to recruit those individuals to write items
Oh yeah.
the minute they get certified.
For sure. They're early adopters.
Hmm.
They demonstrated a commitment.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And then just keep rotating and training and bring those individuals in.
Yeah.
So we have a knack for doing that. Again, it's the community. It's
Hmm.
the ISACA community and the volunteers. So our membership base is wonderful.
And that makes a huge difference with that level of engagement, and that allows you to be innovative, to be creative, to consider programs, which is definitely a massive benefit for your stakeholders, for your communities, for your
Absolutely.
organization.
Yeah.
So,
And those individuals that are CISA certified seeking that specialty, they're going to come back and say, how can I get involved?
oh yeah. And now a short break. Hello, tried and tested listeners and fellow testing enthusiasts. I'm Isabelle Gonthier, your guide through the fascinating world of credentialing. Each week, we dive deep with expert guests to explore the hottest topics in certification and licensure testing. If you're enjoying our journey through lifelong learning and innovation, take a moment to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. And if you know someone passionate about testing or curious about the latest testing trends, why not share this podcast with them? It might just be the inspiration they need. Thank you for tuning in and being part of our community. Remember, sharing knowledge is one of the best ways to grow our industry together. Keep listening. It's great to see how, ISACA is, I would say, always at the forefront of what's an innovation, what's ahead, and wanting to be leading those
Yes, we do.
innovation.
Yeah.
And you've kind of over the years embraced a more flexible and progressive credentialing model, thinking about stackable pathways and credentials.
Mhm.
How are you evolving, like with the format, with that concept of like stackable credentials, modules, different programs that you have in
Yeah.
place? So, talk to us a little bit
Mhm.
about that mindset of wanting that flexibility, that innovation and creativity, while still preserving the integrity of your program.
Well, we do have a motto, fail fast.
Mm-hmm.
And, go out
Mm-hmm.
there and if it fails, fail fast, but at least we tried,
Yeah.
right? So it does give us that ability to be innovative and do different things. Um, a couple of years ago, wow, I think back in about 5 years ago now, if not longer, we did a very large stackable program. And it was a hybrid program. So we were a little overboard on our on our innovations, combining both types of innovations together. And what we did was, ISACA is an IT assurance association.
Mm-hmm.
It is not, we don't have techies as part of our membership. And not that we need those, because those product vendors, they've got the market
Mm-hmm.
on training on the specific products that the techies use. But we wanted to bring in those early, adopters of IT
Mm-hmm.
and getting into an IT career, because we wanted to show them that there's more to just IT. You can go to IT audit, you can go to information security, cybersecurity. So, but to be an IT auditor, you need to know all of the different
Yeah.
aspects of an IT, of a SOC, of, networking and software development, all of that. So we built this stackable certification, and we developed it with a task analysis
Mm-hmm.
and an ECO, and we found that the ECO for an entry-level IT professional had 9 different domains.
Okay.
And we thought, no, this is just huge. We can't make this into a
How do
certification.
you test that?
How do you test that? And the domains had multiple subdomains. I think one domain had like 7 subdomains.
Mm.
So we looked at what we had, and we decided, okay, let's take 5 of these domains, which were really more fundamental, software development, networking, just computer concepts, cybersecurity, and make a fundamental stackable certification, IT fundamental. And then we had more on those leading edge emerging technologies. So we took those 4, which AI was one of them, and blockchain, and artificial intelligence. I can't think of all 4 of them, but
Mm-hmm.
there were 4. So we had an fundamentals of emerging technology stackable certification. So we created 2 certifications out of one task analysis. And because those domains and subdomains were so large, we felt that they were deserving of its own certificate
Yeah.
program. So it provided us the idea to build training with this around the ECOs
Mm-hmm.
for each certificate exam. And also, when you're looking at IT content, we wanted to make sure that we were assessing skills.
Mm-hmm.
So we took the ECO and we identified what could be assessed with a knowledge-based certificate, multiple choice assessment, and what really is deserving of a performance-based, lab-based.
Yeah.
And we identified those and we put them together, and each certificate exam had multiple choice and a lab-based portions to it. Like I said, it was too emerging, but it did allow us to identify the best performers.
Oh, absolutely.
And our AI fundamentals certificate is one of them.
Okay.
So you can take individuals without taking the others, without getting certified. And we see that individuals are taking the training and the assessment for AI fundamentals, and the other is cybersecurity. And so we're putting a hold right now on what we're going to, what our strategy is for those stackable certifications. but the certificate programs are still out there.
Well, yeah, and it
Hmm.
allows, it's great because it's building from the learnings,
Hmm.
which is really important. And you said it like a fail fast kind of like mentality. So you're building from the learnings. You still got highly performing programs out
Absolutely.
of this. And then it provides a flexibility. So the flexibility and the choice to the certificates to say, well,
Hmm.
this is what I want to try. This is what I want to do. It still demonstrate a level of skills, knowledge, and ability
Right.
to their employer, to the community. And then I like the fact that you're actually stepping back, thinking about it. What's the next? What could it look like next based on the
Right.
data you've collected and the experience you've had?
And we're learning from it too. And we also have identified a different channel for it. We're putting universities want it
Oh, yes.
as like a semester course.
That makes
It,
sense.
it does. So we're selling those to universities. And yeah, so we'll see how successful it is to understand what the maintenance needs
Yeah.
and requirements are. Another innovative exam, which is a certification exam, because of the need of cybersecurity and the gap in the skills in the workforce, we decided that certifications, they really do mean more to individuals and employers. And recent research does indicate that over a certificate program. And so we built a hybrid cybersecurity, it's certified cybersecurity operations analyst, and it's called CCOA, and we just launched that in February. And it is multiple choice and lab based. And talk about another certification that has to be maintained frequently.
Oh, yeah.
So we are getting into these certifications that will really need um, continuous maintenance. And we're excited about it. We are excited
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, and I think it's great. And like I said, you're always at the forefront looking at what is, how can you continue to bring value? How
Hmm.
can you innovate? What else is in the pipeline, from your perspective? Anything like any grandiose ideas that you have that maybe you can't share, but, just curious to hear more about what else?
A little pre-knowledge about what's coming. So we really are looking at our membership holistically. And, for some years, we've been looking at how do we get those early adapters into ISACA? Because, like I said, our core membership are that middle management, that 3 to 5 year professional, in our different domains, which there's 6 domains, right? And so we were really concentrating on the fundamentals, that portfolio. We built that portfolio. We're going to continue with the maintenance and whatnot of the fundamentals portfolio. Um, and now we're going to be building those add-on to our certification portfolio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that portfolio will build. We are coming out with AAISM, which is the Advanced in AI Security Management.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
that will be a specialty or an add-on to our system
Okay.
certification.
Okay.
And we're doing research as to whether risk is next, privacy is next, governance is next. Um, so, that's really our strategy. But within this, the certification strategy comes out of the content strategy and of the overall product strategy. And what we really are doing at ISACA is we're building a career journey alongside and aligning it to our learning journey.
Yeah.
Because our members are continuous learners. They learn throughout their career, as we find every
Yeah.
industry has. But they're like sponges. They absorb that training. But when you're young, and, in your career, you need somebody to guide you.
Yeah.
And ISACA has that label of being, an association with worth. And, people follow us. So we are really excited. Right now, we're going to be in the next quarter 3, we're going to be hopefully releasing our flat journey map. So
Okay.
think of it like a subway map.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting
so,
concept.
okay, I'm here in my career.
Mhm.
Where do I go? Okay, I'm here now, but I don't like it. Okay, let's go this way, So, and then it's going to be 3D, it become 3D, where we're going to be collecting data. So, an individual coming in with, a graduate degree in IT, they're going here, but then they vary here and then they vary there. So we're going to be using AI and data analytics to really kind of produce a 3D mapping system
Yeah.
for these individuals.
But that is amazing because again, you mentioned it earlier, like it's that whole concept of lifelong learning. So
Right.
you're catering to the need of your stakeholders,
Hmm.
your certificants. This is what they're looking for. This is what they
We're
want.
learning from them.
Yeah.
That's where we're really excited about it. Right now, we have all this research that we've done to make this flat version, you know, or this, one-dimensional version. But then we're going to be using data analytics and AI to really identify what these people want, where they're going, what makes sense to them.
Wow,
Mhm.
that's fascinating because again, that shows how you are evolving with the community with and based on the needs and you're tailoring it to their needs.
Right.
So I think when you think about then how it connects with the value of the certification, the value of the credential, it's extremely powerful because you can show points in time, part of the journey, the content. It's very
Mhm.
strategic in so many ways to have like this whole ecosystem.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so that guidance, we think it will be a huge help in our industry.
When you think about scaling and you're a global organization and thinking about the new certification that you have in place with the AIA, how are you looking at further scaling that? Obviously you have your target population, it's
Mhm.
very well defined,
Mhm.
but in terms of like continue to push adoption across the board, what's the strategy around that?
Well, localization is going to be a huge part of it.
Yes.
It's going to be a huge part of it. ISACA does have chapters, which there are promoters, right? There are cheerleaders. They really are part of our ecosystem, and individuals within the industry go to them for very localized, training and that whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So we will be using them to identify what language needs are there, using them to help us with localizing our
Yeah.
exam. And then we also have offices in Europe and China, so that will definitely help us to scale. We also use an authorized training program. So we authorize training organizations to teach to our exam prep. And that is another huge promoter of ours. So we do have a system in place. Um, we just can't move too quickly because we've learned in the past that, okay, we're going to translate every item in every language because
That's a
that's the
very
way we're
lofty
going to
goal.
grow, right? I mean, we had what, 12 languages for CISA at one point?
Yeah, yeah.
And, when 25 people take it in, a specific language, it's not scalable because we can't ensure that they're getting the best questions that are localized to their needs, right? So, so we're going to take the most successful languages first. We're going to start with Spanish and Mandarin or Chinese traditional or simplified. I always forget which one. Um, and then we'll go for there because we know that those two translations and localizing certifications in those languages, they gobble them up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
And it's great because you're being very purposeful in terms of how
Hmm.
you're tackling that. And because that's the thing, to your point, you can target so many different options, possibilities, different languages, but you need to make sure that you can maintain scale and quality. I think you've said it,
Absolutely.
quality is critical.
Quality is critical. but we also are running a business too.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were eager beavers and wanting to connect with everyone around the globe, we found that we were losing, in revenue and increasing our expenses, and it just didn't, yeah, it didn't work for us. Our SMEs also, they are incredible in terms of what we have a requirement for our working groups. We call it the working groups that review our questions and our exams, that we have somebody from each region of the world. And they don't translate the questions for us, but they localize it for us.
Mm-mm.
So if there are terms that don't translate,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, nope, we can't use it. Let's think of something else. So that is also, from the get-go, from the very first question, we have that localization in place, that aspect in place.
Which is very important because then it kind of simplifies the approach later down the road.
Absolutely.
So that makes your content current, appropriate, and the lens is being
Hmm.
considered, the proper lens, and in terms of that broad global audience is being taken into
Absolutely.
consideration. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow. It's amazing to see, an organization like ISACA kind of setting the standard, sort of setting the bar in terms of how things need to
Thank
be
you.
done. Yeah, it's really impressive to see that
I
and to see
appreciate
the
that.
footprint and the impact. As we wrap up this amazing conversation, what would be the advice you would give to other credentialing professionals, other people, in terms of like, there's a lot of pressure coming from different angles. There's, when you think about building a new program, there's key considerations. You can get very excited, but you also need to balance things out. So, what would be key pieces of advice you would give to other professionals in from that perspective?
Yeah, do your research. Keep, like I said, keep your finger on the pulse of your customers and their needs. Don't push it on them because we failed when we pushed. Um, Make sure that your programs are constructed in, best practice, using best practice. Don't skimp because it'll bite you in the nose in the future. Um, and let's see. One other thing is make sure you have the right skill set on your staff and with your testing vendor.
Yeah.
Um, I continuously tell people that it's been a joy to work with PSI because they're our partner. They don't say no to any of our ideas. They say, okay, how can we work together on them? And so when you partner with a vendor that is so critical to the success of your certification program, that's key. Another thing to consider when you're looking at a new program is, well, do we develop here or do we partner with somebody? That's a really key element that you should look into first because there may be another association or vendor, IT vendor or whatever out there that's producing the same thing that would benefit you in, partnering with them. So you don't have to create everything. ISACA kind of thinks that way, but we are, again, we're learning that we don't have to be that way. And so, with that strategy, we are looking at partnerships in the future.
Yeah. So build from the learnings, do your research, partner where
Yeah.
appropriate and where it makes sense, and leverage those partnerships. I think that you've said it really, really well, and
Yeah.
it sets your program for success. And I just want to say congratulations to you and your team in terms of all of those achievements. It will be interesting to see the outcomes of, with the launch of the program.
Yeah.
I'll follow up very closely, as you know, and then maybe we'll have another conversation later down the road just to see where we're
I
at.
would like that. This was wonderful, and thank you. I thank you for having me on.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining us, and more to come.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.